So Mark Cuban lost almost $200,000 investing in cryptocurrency. He's not alone, by the way. The value of Bitcoin has dropped almost 50% since last November, and Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, has dropped even farther. Does this mean that the cryptocurrency bubble is finally bursting? Let's talk about it in today's video.
History is filled with almosts, with those who almost adventured, who almost achieved, but ultimately, for them it proved to be too much. Then there are others, the ones who embrace the moment and commit. And in these moments of truth, these men and women, these mere mortals, just like you and me, as they peer over the edge, they calm their minds and steel their nerves with four simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video, subscribe to this channel, even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So you just saw a video featuring Academy Award-winning star Matt Damon talking about how you should invest in cryptocurrency. I used to like Matt Damon. In fact, I used to have kind of a joke where I talked about the people who I'd want to invite to a dinner. And one of the people I wanted to invite to the dinner was Matt Damon, who seemed like an interesting person. Well, that's all changed now since he appears to be a complete sellout. The sad truth is that I'm very concerned about people investing in cryptocurrency. The truth is that many of these cryptocurrencies are based on nothing. And in reality, they're nothing more than gambling. Much as the price of GameStop was driven up when small investors decided to spend their hard-earned funds to invest in the company, many of them ending up holding the bag when the crash came. That's exactly what's happening in cryptocurrency as well. Part of the reason that the value of cryptocurrency has risen so much is because of the fact that people have money as a result of the stimulus checks we've received. Now, as you can see from that ad with Matt Damon, there's been this narrative that's been pushed. And you have to ask yourself, whenever there's something happening that you're seeing advertising for, you have to ask yourself who's making money off of it. And it's likely not you. But the narrative paints cryptocurrency and investing in it as some type of brave investment, some type of investment on the future. I mean, look at Eric Adams, the new mayor of New York, taking his first paycheck in cryptocurrency. And then you have the government of El Salvador declaring that along with the dollar, Bitcoin was now going to be an accepted national currency. But cryptocurrency, as I say, is based on nothing. It's just gambling. And I have a personal concern about this, having a number of family members who've been touched with addiction, and a good friend in particular, who ended up basically losing everything he had as a result of a gambling addiction. I remember going and seeing this friend of mine sitting in a jail cell after he'd basically stolen money from people so that he'd be able to continue on his gambling tear. I've seen articles talking about how it's puzzling just who is investing in cryptocurrency, because it seems like people from all walks of life, people who are both men and women, people of all races and ethnic backgrounds, people of all levels of education and all classes are investing in cryptocurrency. Well, I would say if there's anything that probably binds them together, it'd probably be some type of addictive personality and some type of practice of gambling. In fact, you'd probably see a high correlation between people either gambling or buying lottery tickets and investing in cryptocurrency. Now, you might say that the dollar in some respects is just like cryptocurrency. I mean, after all, it's based on nothing more than the pledge of the United States government behind it. And in fact, there's been talk about the United States actually creating some type of virtual currency. But the reality is, number one, the dollar is basically primarily a digital currency anyway. The vast majority of transactions in dollars are basically electronic transactions between bank accounts. I mean, I don't even carry cash anymore. I can even pay for things just using my Apple Watch. And what we consumers do is small potatoes compared to the massive transactions that occur between banks, all done again by simply typing a few keys on a computer. That's a virtual currency, by the way. And secondly, they say that the dollar isn't backed by anything. Well, I mean, we can get to an argument there. Yes, it's backed by gold and blah, 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 blah. And I teach my economics students about this, so I don't really want to get into it. It gets awfully boring awfully fast. But the one thing you have to remember that gives the dollar value is the fact that you can pay your taxes with it. I mean, consider this story that was once told by an economist, and I wish I could find it. I can't remember who told it, but I remember it standing out in my mind because it was such a good description of how currency works in some ways and what gives it value. There was a father, let's just say me, and I wanted my kids to do work around the house. I had struggled to get them to do projects. I'd threatened, I'd pleaded, I'd stopped them from going places, I'd grounded them when they don't do their chores. Nothing seemed to work. So what I did finally one day is I created a group of certificates. And again, I wish I could give credit to the economist who came up with this story, but I can't. So I'm just going to pretend I did. So these certificates I would give to my kids every time they did a chore. And then every time my kids wanted to do something, they'd have to pay me in certificates. Well, amazingly enough, guess what happened? All of a sudden, kids were doing chores all over the place. And what's more is when one of my kids really wanted to do something, then what they do is they take on extra chores so that they'd be able to earn more certificates, essentially trading with their brothers and sisters so that they'd be able to earn the certificates that they needed to be able to do what they wanted to do. Well, in essence, what I had done is I'd given value to these certificates by taxing them. And that's exactly what government does with a tax. So the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other cryptocurrencies can't pay the taxes in any country except for tiny El Salvador means that they'll never have the stability that real currencies such as the dollar, the yen, or the euro have. And unfortunately, as a result of this lack of any kind of basis for cryptocurrency, it's turned into a home for all kinds of schemers. I mean, NFTs, which are essentially a form of crypto, they're basically art that uses the blockchain to verify their authenticity. Well, when NFTs are being used by the Trump family to try to make money, well, you know that it's become a center of scoundrels. And unfortunately, when scoundrels are trying to make money, they'll do just about anything to convince people to do it. Thus the Matt Damon ads I see in the movie theater. My hope is, though, that with this recent drop in value, that we'll start to see people waking up to the reality of cryptocurrency, which is that it's nothing more than a gamble. It's not an investment. Just the other day, I saw that the IMF warned El Salvador that they should no longer be relying upon Bitcoin as a legitimate currency. And I saw another article talking about how angry gamers are taking on cryptocurrency and NFTs. As always, by the way, I'll post links to all the articles I'm referring to down below. My hope is that as people see these warning signs, that they'll start to realize that crypto is not something to be trifled with. It's the kind of gamble that you can invest in with extra funds that you don't mind losing, just as you'd possibly gamble at a casino. But please, please, please do not invest your hard-earned dollars that you're hoping will sustain you in retirement or to pay for your kids' education in crypto. In the short run, it may seem like a quick way to increase the value of those investments. But in the long run, what we've seen is that it's really nothing more than a mirage. Hey, if you like that video, you might want to check out this one. It'll give you more ammunition to fight off the MAGA crowd and stand up for our small d and big D democratic values. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.